So this is my first Wonder Woman comic, and so far I really like the character a lot. I'm not sure if she's usually like this, but this version of her is a really good character, really interesting to see just the way she is. And before I get into too much things, I want to mention just how the paneling is because I talked about the paneling before, but now that I'm actually reviewing the series, I can get more into it. And out of all the absolute titles, this one has probably the best paneling. Like, we even start off with some pretty good designs right there. And then even here, as we begin with Diana coming in on Pegasus, look as she reaches into her bag, pulls out the sword, slashes, and then flies off, and then comes back down for another attack, which is really cool. Like, the panel flow in this is really amazing. And like I said, every panel is different. Like, you're not going to see the same thing twice while you're reading a absolute Wonder Woman. So I really like that. And I also wanted to show one more example of it too, because my favorite part is right here when she's standing up to the general, and she's just telling him straight up, and it forms a W. But something I wanted to mention in this moment too, she has a way of being like stern and dominant without the aggression or being confrontational. Like, she just says what needs to be said, and that's pretty much it. And I've never seen her insult anyone or get angry either. There's something about this Wonder Woman. I can't really explain what it is. She's definitely compassionate, but there's something else to her character. I've been trying to figure out what it is. I can't quite describe it yet, but there's also something else I've been trying to figure out as well. And let me see if I can find a good panel of it, because I've been noticing that it happens quite a bit. It goes back and forth, but it's usually her eyes. Her eyes go back and forth between, as you see right there, they're red in this shot, but here they're blue. And at first I thought it was red because she was trying to be intimidating or because she was channeling magic, but there are some scenes in here where none of that's happening and her eyes are just red. So I'm not exactly sure what triggers it. But something I really like about Absolute Wonder Woman, and like I said before, I'm not sure if the main one is like this, but she really reliant on magic. And it's really cool watching her just pull stuff out of her magic bag and then just see what happens. And look, here's even a moment of her talking to the live TV report. And it's cool because Wonder Woman even unites the city in this moment to get everyone together. And like I said, once again, her eyes are blue in this shot. So I think she's doing it on purpose because she's like trying to soften her look. But she's explaining to the city how she's about to cast a spell to save them from this beast that's attacking them. I want to say, so there's a lot of things in this story that I probably can't pronounce right. And the creature that she's fighting is called a tetracide. I think that's how you say it. But it emits a sound, and she had to deaf the city so they wouldn't hear it and walk to their deaths. And I think it's really cool that she's able to do that. But she had to give up her arm in the process while fighting. And we get the whole backstory of how this magic arm came to be. And something else I want to say is his name is Steve, right? I don't know his last name, but this comic made me really like Steve. I like Cersei too. Man, there's a lot of good characters in here. So, like I said, I butcher a lot of names. I'm pretty sure this is Hecate. I'm not sure if I'm saying that wrong. I don't know much about Greek mythology, so that's probably another reason why I'm really enjoying Absolute Wonder Woman, because I don't know who these characters are. But listening to them explain it and go through all the lore has been really interesting to see. And I really like again, I really like this character. Look at her, because she has to get her arm back. And there's a whole rituals that she has to go through. And this is what she looks like afterwards. Her eyes are red in this shot. And she's pretty nice in this shot, thanking everyone for their help. But like I said, I can't figure out what this is about her character, but I'm a big fan of Absolute Batman, and I just gotta say that this title is it's pretty. It gives it. It's hard for me not to say this might be my favorite, but then there's Absolute Superman too. I really like the Absolute Universe because I can't choose a favorite. It's really difficult for me. But also, I really like how her sword can change shape and become so huge. But there are panels of her talking to her sword. So I'm curious if her sword's alive or not. And also look at her power right here as she's able to slice him. That's a pretty good cut right here. But again, like the panels are really good when it comes to the action. And I'll say it again, out of all the Absolute titles, I think Absolute Wonder Woman has the best paneling. And Absolute Martian Manhunter probably has the best artwork. Definitely, for sure. But for some reason in this story, the artwork just turns up to 11, like for no reason almost. I'll get to that in a little bit because I got one more panel shot to show off. Because, like I said, the panel work is strong. Even I think Absolute Wonder Woman's magic is the coolest part about her character. I think because every fight I've seen of her so far, you really don't know what she's going to do next. Like even here when she's wrapping up one of her lassos around her, I really didn't know what she was going to do, and then she starts transforming, and she turns herself into Medusa, and I didn't see that coming at all, and I didn't know she could do that, but her magic is impressive, and according to Wonder Woman, her magic isn't good. She's not good with magic. That's what she says. So I'm kind of shocked to see that. Apparently, her mother Cersei, that's the real master of the magic. But she takes over Medusa, so she can defeat this. And there's a good piece of writing because earlier in the story, Diana told Steve. I'm pretty sure his name is Steve. I don't know why. I don't know why I want to call him Steve Trevor, but she tells him that she saves him because she believes a good man can change the world. And after Diana turns into Medusa, she kind of goes on a rampage. But before she goes on this rampage, she gives herself like kind of a chant or like a pep talk as she tells herself, in hope and faith that I will once again someday be Diana of the Wild Isle, Diana, last of the Amazons, Diana, daughter of Circe. As she's telling herself she wants to be that person once again when this is over. And then Steve goes out there because he says someone needs to remind her who she is. And as he goes out there, he actually ties a thing around his eyes so he doesn't turn to stone. But he goes out there and he says, Diana, I know you can hear me. And he tells her, I know you're a great warrior. He's all you need to remember, you are Diana, witch of the Wild Isle, daughter of Circe, Diana, the last of the Amazon. And then he adds one more thing, Wonder Woman, hero of Gateway City. And I just really like the writing. And then right here she says, one good man can save the world, Steve. And it's just so good writing. And it's only I think this is only 5 issues in. And it's been so good already. All the Absolute titles have good writing, but there's something I definitely need to read more about Absolute Wonder Woman because I can't really say what it is, but there's something about this story that's different from Absolute Batman or Superman. And it's not like hope, it's something about how Diana carries herself as a character. And like I said, I've never seen her mad. I think it's just the way she makes everyone around her better. I think that's it. I, I, I think that's it, but here's another cool action shot of the panels because when I read this, of course I was reading it through. I read the dialogue right here, and then I noticed that crack, and then the hand came up, grabbed her, and then I read Diana, she was just gone. Like for me when I read it, it was fast. And I think that's how it was intended to be, that quick. And something else I noticed about Absolute Wonder Woman like versus Absolute Batman. Absolute Batman issues tend to end on hype, but Absolute Wonder Woman issues, they just like end. And it's kind of like, I kind of like how they end though, because it's kind of like just like, whoa, it's over, kind of. But this is what I was talking about earlier, how for some reason, I'm not quite sure. I'm not complaining though. I don't mind it. But the artwork just turns up to 11 out of nowhere. And now she's in the underworld. And she was pulled there as we saw in the last chapter. And you can see, you can tell that the artwork is a little different here. The lighting, the shading, there's a lot more detail. And I just wanted to show off one shot that shows it pretty good. Like, look at all this. Look at that thunder, the lighting. You can even see Diana's delts in the shadows right there. And that's a good perspective shot. But I just want to give you guys an example. Because this is how it looks normally. And then just out of nowhere, it just turns up. I don't know why, but I like it. Well, I have a theory why. I think the reason why the artwork got so good is because we're in the underworld. And I think they're trying to... The artwork is supposed to let the reader know that that's where you are right now. But like I said, I really like it. The shadowing. Look at the... I like the lightning striking as she's asking Prometheus this question. And also, let's get one more good shot of this as she strikes his finger. Like, the artwork in this is just so good. Absolute Wonder Woman is actually an amazing title. If you said this was your favorite in the Absolute Universe, I honestly couldn't argue with you because like I get it. And here's another example of why I said the magic is probably the most interesting thing about her. And earlier when she was fighting the Tetracide, she deafened the whole city so they couldn't hear its song. And here, if you apparently look in the eyes of this creature, it's deadly. So Diana blinded herself before the fight started. And this thing is really sensitive to smell. So she has another magic potion to pretty much throw off its sense of smell. And of course, Diana, because she knew she was going to like make the air really pungent, she removed her own sense of smell before the battle started. Like she can just remove her senses at will, and it doesn't really handicap her at all. And it's just, I really like this character. I definitely need to read more to figure out where I would like rank her out of characters. Because like I said, I do like Absolute Superman, even though it's been a while since I talked about him. But anyways, that's about does it for this story because I don't want to show too much of it because I do want people to read it for themselves. But this is a really good series. It's definitely up there at the top with the rest of the Absolute Universe. There's not really a bottom to this universe, honestly. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'm really looking forward to reading Volume 2, and then I'll be able to officially catch up. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.